Welcome back to day 3 of Homeopathy Awareness Week, where we celebrate the birthday of Samuel Hahnemann from the 10th to the 16th of April. On the Homeopathy Hangout podcast, we will be having daily episodes during this time, and we shared some testimonials with some of our listeners with you yesterday. So if you haven't listened to that yet, scroll back to yesterday's episode and definitely give that a listen. And today we will be sharing some more testimonials with you. So to every single listener who took the time to send us in a testimonial, doesn't matter how long or short, thank you with all my heart. It is so beautiful to hear all your voices, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy Homeopathy Awareness Week and continue to share this amazing healing art with your family and your friends and everyone around you. Thanks for listening.
Homeopathy has been a godsend to our family. Genetically, we tend to have adverse reactions to most over-the-counter and prescription pharmaceutical medicines. So I was looking for something less reactive and found homeopathy 35 years ago and find it to be even more effective in healing than anything we've ever gotten from a pharmacy or doctor's prescription in the Western medical tradition. We love homeopathy. We appreciate its efficacy. And now, 35 years later, we're still learning so much more and will continue for a lifetime. It is one of my personal daily gratitude remembrances because I don't know what we would have done if we hadn't found that.
Hi homies, my name is Lubina. I am a student homeopath and a home prescriber for several years. I love how homeopathy empowers me to treat my friends, my family, myself. It gives the power back in my hands so that I don't have to go to the ER, I don't have to go to the GP to get some nasty drugs. I have my remedy kit and I can treat them with all kinds of acutes. For example, last December, my big boy was down with the flu. I gave him just a few remedies following his symptoms and he was up in no time, unlike his classmates who had to get some nasty drugs and they were down for at least a week. So I truly believe in homeopathy and I encourage you to try it if you haven't already. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Ali McDonald. I do not have a doctor, but I do have a homeopath. I use it for absolutely everything and it totally works. Hi, I'm Max and I'm 14. And homeopathy has been helping me since age 2 and I've never needed to go to the doctor since.
My name is Elaine and I've used homeopathy for many, many years and then took the plunge and actually studied it. And I was not disappointed. On a day-to-day basis, I never cease to be amazed about what homeopathy can do for people on both the physical and mental, emotional plane. Its depth is just out of this world and I'm just so grateful that it's in my life.
Hi, Eugenie. So when I first discovered homeopathy, I became completely obsessed with it and I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could about it. So I started off by listening to your podcasts and I absolutely loved them. And some episodes I listened to multiple times because they just completely blew my mind. And so I then decided to study homeopathy and I studied with the lovely Elaine, who is now on your team. And I'm now a fully qualified homeopath and I still listen to your amazing podcast. So thank you for helping me on my journey to becoming a homeopath.
Hello, I'm Ritu Kindra Tangri, one of the homeopaths on Eugenie's team. I'd like to talk about a 37-year-old lady who had come to me because her periods had stopped for the last 8 months. The other symptoms she presented were that she had constantly blocked ears, she felt indifferent, and she was very cold all the time. She just couldn't warm up enough. And she'd been on oral contraceptive pills for the last 7 to 8 years. So sepia was a close cousin, but I gave her manganum. And because all these symptoms were like indicative of giving her of manganum. So upon the next follow-up when she came, she told me that her ears were no longer blocked And she, instead of feeling indifferent, she was tearful, but she had also developed a white vaginal discharge. So I'd like to explain. So why did I give her manganum? And a deeper research kind of helped me to understand that manganum is a very important mineral that is helpful or utilized by the pituitary gland to send its messages to the ovaries. The other use of manganum is for the cholesterol to be converted into progesterone. So because of the oral contraceptive pills, this pathway, the pituitary ovarian pathway, is blocked and the manganese is not being used up properly by the body. So giving her manganum as a potency reset this whole pathway. And so she kind of started feeling more tearful now, and the discharge said the white discharge and not as cold. So my next prescription was pulsatilla because all her symptoms pointed towards pulsatilla, and her white discharge disappeared. And within the next 4 months, she got her first period, and slowly they became very regular. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy listening to the rest of the speakers. Thank you.
Last year, I had an unfortunate accident where my head was poked and I contracted meningitis. It was kind of a shock at first when I realized that was what I was experiencing. Because I'm a homeopath, I decided to treat at home, and I ended up not needing to go to the hospital at all, other than my initial scan. I used quite a bit of apis and belladonna to help with the head pains, and that worked beautifully for me. I had some infection at the poke site, and I used War and Hepasulf quite a bit, and that really helped to heal that. And I also used Baridicarb, which was the totality for me, and also some echinacea potency I found very helpful. All in all, it was a great experience. It was a teaching moment for me. I had never treated meningitis before, and I wasn't sure if it was something that was doable. I definitely encourage people to go get treatment, in the hospital settings. But for me, this was a choice that I made, and it worked out very well. I love homeopathy. I could not live without it. I'm so grateful that I found it. And yeah, it's given me wonderful healing experiences so many times throughout the years.
Hi, Eugenie. Just letting you know that I was able to get rid of all the aphids off my hibiscus plants out the front by spraying the plant with silica in a bottle of water. I cured my baby's thrush in her mouth by giving her homeopathic borax, just 2 tablets over 12 hours. And every time I get a cold, I take either silica or nat mur or usually aconite 30C, and it seems to nip it in the bud. And also, I used it as a pain relief when I injured myself on a bike, and it was quite deep, the cut. And every time it hurt, I took Hypericum 30C, and the pain would go away. I didn't use Panadol the whole time, just used Hypericum. I even put a tablet in water and would just sip it every couple of hours, and that really worked. So, yeah, there's probably a lot more, but that's all I can think of for now. Bye.
Pondering on being a homeopath, it's way more than the giving of remedies. And that in and of itself is incredibly powerful to be able to treat yourself, your loved ones, your clients, to empower yourself to be in control of your own health journey. But being a homeopath is so much more. It's about living homeopathically, thinking homeopathically, weaving individuality and totality as a way of thinking, the principles of less is more and minimum dose in your life. And I think once you reach that level and you realize that you are a homeopath, then actually your entire life potentizes to a whole nother level. And it's a beautiful community to be in.
Hello, my name is Sarah Baumgardner, and I just wanted to share my journey real quick about homeopathy. I came across it about 2 years ago because I had problems with one of my dogs, and I just started researching and learning and more. And I am absolutely blown away about the miracles that I've seen since learning and using homeopathy. I have 4 dogs that are currently being treated by my homeopath, and the miracles I've seen have been fabulous. I had one that had a huge laceration, and we just used homeopathy. There was no leaking, no swelling, no inflammation, and it healed faster than I've seen anything before. And my German Shepherd, his ears got infected and his lips swelled up, and I hadn't seen anything before. And we treated with homeopathy, and within 48 hours, he was 80% better and just continued to heal. He also got Lyme's disease. It wasn't diagnosed, but that's probably what it was. And within, again, 48 hours, he was no longer limping and in pain and only improved. I've also been treating my dog's teeth, who was losing teeth and terrible tartar, and it was still working on it, but we're 50% better. And then I did a street rescue on a little pit bull that had been attacked by local dogs. Her eyes were infected, her paws were infected, her face was swollen and full of bite marks. And we treated only with homeopathy, no antibiotics, no steroids, no nothing. And, within 3 days, she was feeling so much better and no longer limping, and she has continued to improve. So there's just no limit to what a homeopathy can do. We've been treating the dogs for fleas with homeopathy. I'm currently treating a dog that is heartworm infested with homeopathy. It's helping me emotionally with stress, sometimes sadness and anxiety and hormones, and it's also helping my dogs that go through, emotional upsets that you don't always see. So anyway, I could go on and on and on, but anyone that is on the fence about trying it, please do. I highly recommend getting a trained homeopath, because sometimes things can be complicated. I mean, things like insect bites, you can treat yourself, but anything that goes deeper, you really need someone to help you. And the miracles that it does without having to use traditional medicine. I do believe my dogs are, mostly raw fed, and we don't use any chemicals. So it is a balance of herbs and all things, but the homeopathy is the key. So anyway, God bless everyone, and please learn about homeopathy. Don't be intimidated by it, because it takes a long time. It's a lot to absorb, so many potencies, so many remedies. And that's why I suggest getting help. Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole McConnon and I'm one of the homeopaths on Eugenie's team. Over the past few years, I've actually shared some of my own personal testimonials for Homeopathy Awareness Week, and I was actually going to share some testimonials that my clients have left for me, but then I thought about it. They're already out there. They're either on my website, my Facebook page, or on Google Review. So I thought I'd just do something a little bit different, and I've just gone back through some emails that I've received this month from current clients. So they're not formal testimonials. They're all completely anonymous. They're just real check-ins and updates. And I just thought I'd share a few snippets so you can see how things sometimes unfold while working with a homeopath. I'm just going to just read them out as they come. I'm not going to explain them too much, but these are just people's real words. So the first one up is, "Hi Nicole, I hope you are well. I come bearing great news. I am pregnant. Hi Nicole, just touching base on my child. He seems to have tolerated the new remedies just fine. He's quite stable at the moment, and seizure frequency has gone back to his usual pattern. He hasn't been as drowsy and has been more energized. Seems to be sleeping better, which is great. Hi Nicole, I have actually just in the last few days found out I am pregnant. Oh my God, Nicole, I took a drop or two, had a sip of water, and I emailed you. I then got up to turn the kitchen lights off, and I can't believe I have almost no groin pain and I can stand up straight. Less than 5 minutes after taking Ignatia. I've been up several times tonight to use the bathroom, and it's hurt to move and stand, and I've been hunched over walking as I couldn't straighten up. It hurt too much. I'm literally so shocked. Hey Nicole, I just wanted to let you know that I've had a really good response. Still no chocolate. Amazing. I've just used Phytolacca from the birth kit. I started midnight last night and it's completely cleared. That was for a case of mastitis. Another email from a client whose child had constipation for most of her life, and she now had some diarrhea, and started her on a remedy. And the next day the mom said, "Hi Nicole, thanks so much. 4 doses yesterday and it stopped. I've moved to hourly today." The next is for a client that I've been seeing for a couple of years, and she said, "Hi Nicole, the first 2 days after taking the Staphylococcus aureus, I felt like I'd blow my top, but I was able to control it more, which sounds weird. The last few days I've felt calmer. I'm not going to blow up. Also, I don't think I've told you, but I haven't had a migraine since last year in May. Woohoo." So these are just from real people. They're real progress. I just thought I'd share. They're either, some of them are at the start of their journey, some of them are acute things, some of them are a couple of prescriptions in, and some of them I've been seeing for a few years. So if you haven't tried homeopathy, give it a try.
I first heard about homeopathy. I was in a little shop in Laura, South Australia, and they had Owen homeopathy back then. And I just bought a couple the lady told me about. And one day my son got stung by a wasp and I gave him Ledum, and lo and behold, it worked. I couldn't believe the pain went away straight away. And then a few years down the track, I got into it a bit more and got a few things put aside, and I had a horse that went down with colic, so I went out there and gave it homeopathy and fixed his horse, and it's just amazing, and I wouldn't be without it. I've helped the kids, I've helped my husband with phantom pains, you name it. It's amazing.
Hi, Eugenie, and everyone who is listening. Thank you for this great opportunity to share my homeopathic experiences and testimonials and my journey in homeopathy, which in a way changed my life. To become a homeopath, it was a journey through clinical pharmacy, and then discovering homeopathy, which always was there, brought me to essential and a beautiful healing modality that allows our body to really go back to balance. And I observed amazing results in dogs, in kids, and in adults. They can be users of homeopathy for long, or they might be using for the very first time. But what homeopathy does is essentially bringing our vital force to rebalance our state. So it's something that none of other modalities of medicine do. So it's incredibly gentle and a profound way of working on your own healing. And for me, the start of it was actually my own healing, where I had been going through some grief, which caused me a physical cough and troubles with sleeping, and just a few doses of a right remedy, which at the time was Ignatia, and Natmur followed and brought me back to balance. And I'm never going to forget how that was at first. It felt magical. So homeopathy is that magical tool that allows us to heal ourselves, but also support others, and there's no side effects. And essentially, we can bring healing on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level, which none of other modalities is so uniquely connected with all bodies of us, our bodies. So I'm very thankful for homeopathy, and that I can always rely that there will be remedy or remedies that will help. Obviously, sometimes get challenging situations with chronic states, but essentially homeopathy will make a change in a person with the time. And healing, like the teeth, it takes anything between 6 to 12 months sometimes to see results, because it's a hard tissue. And I've been working with patients. We just had a consultation follow-up, and then we've been working together now probably something like 9 months. And there is a big change, but it took months and months to see the change. Our body resolves certain emotional things or soft tissue injuries quicker rather than the injuries to the bones and teeth. So for that reason, working on on it for a while is so important. But yeah, in acute state, we can really get the results very quickly. And I'm always amazed when patients telling me, yes, I took 3-4 doses and I'm feeling better. Sometimes 1 dose in the very sensitive patients. And I had often those emails saying, yes, that the remedy helped, 1 dose, no more cough, or no more sore throat. So thank you for spreading homeopathic word all over the world. And let's keep homeopathy alive with those testimonials, bringing beautifully to people who have not yet experienced the beauty of homeopathy. Have a lovely, lovely Homeopathy Awareness Week. And thank you again for this opportunity.
One time I had a big ouchie, then I had the only card and I felt much better. Calendula. It helps me with my ouchies on my elbows and knees. Next Vomica, it helps me with my belly. It sometimes hurts my belly. So, last week I had a stomachache, and then when my mommy gave me Nux Vomica, it helped me with my belly and it's better.
Hello, homies. I'm Margie, and I've been Eugenia's podcast editor for the past 4 years. Through working closely with her, I've learned so much about homeopathy. At first, I was honestly skeptical. It's very different from what I was used to, but over time, hearing the cases and understanding the approach made me curious enough to try it to myself. When I finally got the remedies Eugenie gave me, that's when everything shifted. I saw firsthand how effective they were, not just in easing symptoms, but in helping the body truly recover. What stood out the most was how gentle yet powerful the results were. As a mom, one of the biggest things for me is knowing I don't always have to rely on antibiotics for my kids. That alone has given me so much peace of mind. I'm really grateful for everything I've learned and experienced through this journey. It's completely changed how I approach health and healing in our home. Thank you so much, Eugenie, for everything you do and for being an inspiration to everyone.
Hello, homies. My name is Ruel. I am from the Philippines, and I also help to edit Eugenia's amazing podcast. And for years of listening to her wonderful guests, I kept hearing about how powerful this nanomedicine is. And last year, my wife Margie and I had the great privilege of meeting Eugenia in Bali. So during that time, she gave us a homeopathy kit. And since then, we have no longer used allopathic medicines for acute symptoms like fever, like cough, headaches, rashes, colds, stomach issues, and many other common concerns. I can truly say that homeopathy's effectiveness is real. And I say that based on my personal experience. It has been really amazing for our family. I also shared it with some of my friends, and they too have testified of its effectiveness. Some of them have also shared their own testimonials, which I included after mine. Eugenie, thank you so very much for your kind and gentle spirit and for being an instrument of spreading the power of homeopathy to the world.
Hi, my name is Alana from the Philippines. I had a very severe sore throat and intense itchiness, which caused me to develop a high fever. I was feeling very uncomfortable and worried about my condition. My friend Ruel gave me small white beetles and instructed me to place 2 beetles under my tongue every 15 minutes for 6 doses. After the second or third dose, I already started to feel better. My sore throat improved quickly, and the itchiness began to disappear. By the time I completed the doses, my sore throat was completely gone, and both the itchiness and fever had also disappeared. I was amazed at how fast I recovered. I wish we could easily buy this kind of medicine here because it's helped me so much and worked very gently.
My name is James from the Philippines, and I have struggled with tonsillitis for a very long time. It has been one of my worst nightmares because whenever it happens, I can hardly swallow anything due to the swelling in my throat. The discomfort is very hard to bear, and it usually comes with fever. One day, my friend Roel gave me a medicine he called homeopathy. I was surprised because it was not the usual medicine I used to take. The pills were very small and tasted sweet. I followed his instructions. I took 2 pills, then another 2 after a few minutes. To my surprise, after only a few minutes, I started to feel better. The swelling in my throat went down, my fever disappeared, and I could swallow again without pain. I could hardly believe it. I was amazed at how quickly I felt healed after taking those small pills.
Hi, my name is Kiara and I'm 9 years old. Before, whenever I got sick, it was very hard for me. I didn't like taking medicine because the smell made me feel sick, and sometimes I would even throw up. I don't like taking the cough medicine. I think it's called antibiotic. My dad asked me to take it every day, but I don't really like it at all. It felt like a nightmare for me. But since my parents used homeopathy, things became different. I was happy because they were tiny and had no bad smell. I didn't feel scared to take them at all. I only took a few pills, and after a short time, I started to feel better. I was so thankful and happy because I didn't have to struggle taking medicine anymore. Now, whenever I feel sick, I'm not afraid. I call them my tiny sweet miracle pills. I am very grateful because homeopathy helped me feel better quickly and made taking medicine easy for me. Bye!
Hi, I am Ria from Philippines. Last October 2025, I had a fever for 4 days, along with colds, cough, and body pain. The fourth day, I started to feel stomach pain. My whole body became numb. My heart started to palpitate, and I had difficulty with it. Early morning on the fifth day, I was brought to the district hospital and taken directly to the emergency room because the stomach pain attacked again for the fourth time. Felt numb all over my body. I lost strength and I could not walk. One of my church friends visited me and offered me a small white pills to take. He said it's called Homeopathic Remedies. After taking the small pills within a few minutes, I no longer felt numbness and my stomach pain decreased and my heart stopped palpitating. That afternoon, we continued all the laboratory tests, and when we received all the results, everything in my abdominal was done. I am very thankful that I was able to take those pills because the severe stomach pain never came back again. My husband and I are also very grateful to our friend Owen for not hesitating to share those miracle pills with us.